Hey guys, welcome. And it's lovely to see a few of you have already commented and connect in the comments as well with that. So as we go live, I will wait for people to come online for a moment, but I am Leanne Winston Psychic Medium, and I'm pleased that you can join me today. Today I decided to do this more so at the drop of a hat. I did post or repost or replay, I should say, a video on depression that I did a little while ago. Oh, it's probably been nearly 12 months ago since I posted that video, I reckon, to do with depression and anxiety and the amount of people that are affected by that as well with that. So hi guys, I can see you all coming on. Hi Paula. Hi Cassie, Amy, Kim, Kristen, beautiful, Bob and Booth. Sorry, honey, if I said that wrong. So it's beautiful to see you guys joining in as well. Hi, Rowie, Simone. So beautiful. So I'm quite honoured that you guys have joined in. I don't normally come live on a Saturday night, but certainly felt the need to at the moment because so many of us are noticing and feeling the energy changes of late. Now, I keep coming across people, and I think just about nearly every client that I have had in the last couple of weeks has been struggling a lot. Okay. So I just want to say also, please guys, I'm not going to actually do readings tonight. I'd just like to stick to the subject of anxiety, depression and mental health because there are so many diagnoses that comes in under that bigger umbrella. But I guess for me, anxiety and depression is the thing that I mostly get drawn to through a lot of my clients. And I am seeing so many people lately that are suffering with anxiety and depression. I have a child that suffers with anxiety as well. So, from a parent's point of view or being a support person, I understand that side of it by my own experiences. Now, I do need to say also, guys, that I am not trained in the medical industry, or profession is probably more the better word for it at all. So, what I get comes through my own experiences, the tools that I have learned through my own growth in what I do with connecting with spirit and the training and different things that I have done as well. So hello to all those people that are joining in as well. Sorry, Melissa, I'm not giving guidance tonight. This broadcast is mainly just to do with anxiety and depression. And if you don't suffer with anxiety or depression, you may find that there is a family member or somebody close by that does experience that as well. Okay, Elizabeth, I had lost the fight and decided to take tables, and I love the idea of feeling normal and a bit happier at least. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think a lot of things that I see in people with anxiety and depression, a lot of the time it's not theirs, okay? Please feel free to share your comments, share your experiences, please feel free to talk between each other as well in the comments, because if we can help each other and raise more awareness into mental health, and by far I think the health system lets us down. The mental health system certainly isn't there in the way that it is needed for the amount of people that are needing to reach out and need help these days with that side of it as well. It's not the doctors, it's not the medical profession in itself. I guess it's the overall system that doesn't work and isn't there to support people to the full extent that they are needed for pressures and different reasons. I'm not judging them for that by far, and I would like to think that I don't judge anybody for their health, their mental state, whatever, personality, anything like that. I like to look at people and take them as they come. we're all different. We all handle things differently. Okay. We have a lot of pressures, and, some of us are pushed to the point that the anxiety and the depression does take over. People have bipolar, and there's all the other symptoms, not symptoms, but the other diagnoses out there as well. My family has been touched over the years on one way or another with anxiety, depression, suicidal attempts, and stuff like that. That I have been very close to witnessing a lot of that side. And I lost a cousin to suicide. Oh my God, that must be, I think he's been gone nearly 16, or if not 16 years. It must be 16 years this Christmas. So, I understand from the family side of point of view for those that are left behind on how that affects us as well. Bob and Booth just says, suffering depression after a bad motorbike accident 6 years ago tomorrow. Just in the last 3 weeks, I have come off the tablets. I was in a bad place when back then. Happy as Larry now. Beautiful, and and that's the thing, it's finding what works for us. And a lot of the time, what I find in clients with the guidance of spirit is I'm quite often shown there is a trigger. For you, Bob, was the motorbike accident has caused it. My guess is and I'm only guessing, I'm presuming, sort of thing, your life was turned upside down around that time, and you may have had injuries that stopped you from doing things in that sense. So, it can trigger one thing or another. I was talking to a lovely young man last week, I think it was, that had health issues, and he was fine until those health issues got in the way of his schooling and made it hard for him to be able to do all the normal things. So then he struggled at school, he struggled with other kids, and so on and so on. So, it does really affect us. So Amanda's just saying, I've been surviving depression for over 20 years, anxiety for a lot of it, but only come to terms with having it recently. Has been very hard, and each day is a struggle with having such sickness in mine and my family's life. The stresses are so bad. My anxiety takes a hit more often than I admit. And that's the thing. Sometimes we, Amanda, you might relate to that. To this as well. Sometimes we've got to put the face on to make other people think we're okay. So it's the underlying stuff. And do you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with asking people, are they okay? If they don't seem right in themselves or the normal happy self sort of thing, I quite often see a change in my daughter. She can go from one extreme to the other quite quickly if something pushes her buttons, so to speak. And I'm, quite often I'll just say, honey, are you okay? Sometimes she gets grumpy, I should say, and jumps down my throat. I know she's not okay. Other times I'll just go, yeah, Mum, and off she goes, sort of thing. So, it doesn't hurt to ask the questions in that side of it as well. Hi, Ali. And Bob's just saying, yes, 3 years ago, recovering and completely change of career. Yeah, and sometimes things become out of our control as well. Guys, please feel free to share this broadcast while we're live or after on the replay. The replay, the recording that is there with your friends and family. And if you've got somebody that suffers with anxiety and depression that might like to have another look at things as an insight from the energy side of point of view, which I'll touch on in a moment, tag them in it. If, obviously they may not be on my page, so to speak, already, put the @ sign and then type their name, and that will tag them in that. So if they miss the live while we're here, they can certainly watch the replay. Hey, Colleen, I hope you're well, hon. Okay. Lauren says, my anxiety has heightened after having children. I had horrible postnatal depression after a few of my children, and it was so important to reach out for help. Having support makes all the difference. And for me, yes, I had my ups and downs as my childhood. I was always a bigger person, so I got teased at school a lot for my weight and that, so I did struggle with that side of it. I wouldn't say I really suffered depression. I have had a bit of anxiety. I've had panic attacks over the years when I had an injury at work and got to the stage that I couldn't leave the house or I couldn't go into a shopping centre with a lot of people. And it did take me quite a while to get over that side of it as well. So, I understand to a point of view or to a point a lot of that as well. And I think for me, it is important to have that support. So I totally agree with Lauren. Sorry, honey, getting tongue tied. But also from a point of view where I have been there to support others through their depression, whether it's my daughter or it's another family member, or it could be even some of my clients that come in as well with that. Colleen's just saying that she's highly depressed lately too. I'll touch on a couple of things in a minute with the universal energy and help you understand what's going on there, and some of that may resonate with you guys as well in a moment. But it is important to speak out. It's important to ask for help. We've got your Beyond Blue and different things out there as well that are anonymous, that you can certainly dial up and speak to people, get help if you need it. But also family. One thing I keep saying to my daughter is you've got to communicate. She closes down and keeps it quite close and bottles it up. And I think a lot of people do that a lot lately. And if we're not communicating, we're not expressing that energy or moving that energy, so it gets stuck. All right. So I'm going to mainly concentrate on the energetic side of stuff. Like I said, I am not trained as a medical profession at all. I have started a counselor's course online, but life has got a little bit busy or hectic this last few months, so I haven't got too far into that as yet. So I just like to make it clear that any information I give is from my own experience. Whether it's my own feelings, how I've helped others, the tools I've gained throughout my career, so to speak, or it's through the guidance of spirit. So it certainly isn't coming from a medical point of view as well. And if you need help, please call Beyond Blue and the other people or the other departments that are out there, or seek medical help. Okay. If you are taking medication, I advise you to talk to a doctor before making any changes with that as well. Okay, so I just really want to make that clear. Danielle says for her, anxiety is a daily occurrence for me. Sorry, guys. It's like I've been talking all day and all of a sudden the throat's getting a bit dry. I won't be set. All right, so let's start with the universal energy first of all. So I want to explain that. Then I'll talk about energy and how we pick up on other people's energy and how to protect ourselves as well. So basically the universal energy affects us all right? Some of us are more aware of it than what others are as well with that side of it. Some of us are more sensitive to it. I know I am. I know when there's a full moon and stuff like that, because the moon energy sort of resonates with me as well. Okay, so I'm just watching comments as they're coming through at the same time. Say hi, Tammy. All right. So lately, the last 2 or 3 weeks, I know in myself, I've been very challenged, especially in this last week or a week and a bit. There has been some really deep stuff over the last 2 to 3 weeks that is coming up. Okay. The universe is forcing us to look at that stuff that we're holding on to and looking at, and when I say that, it's going deeper than it has ever gone before that I've experienced, put it that way. So it's sitting on that soul level. That energy is really pushing those things deep in the soul to bring them up and to release it. When we do that, we're feeling like we're being tested. It's one thing after another. We're not getting that break. We're tired. We're exhausted. You get all the emotional feelings that come through with it. I know last weekend I ended up being quite emotional for parts of the weekend, but something triggered that. But that was sitting there needing to be released at the same time, because actually before that event, I had been feeling a little bit emotional beforehand as well. Okay. So that on that soul level, that stuff that's sitting there really deep that we keep pushing down and down over time and not wanting to deal with it completely, or we thought we've dealt with it, but there is some resistance there or residual there that is still left over. That stuff is forcing its way to the top to force us to look at what's going on and deal with it and let it go. Okay. If you hold on to it, it's just going to keep manifesting. It's going to keep pushing down and getting bigger and bigger. So it's important at the moment to be able to acknowledge that stuff, let it go, and just breathe and be. Allow the energy of the universe to move without fighting it. Because the more you fight it, the more tired, the more exhausted you're going to get, the longer that energy is going to take to move. So if you can release that and just go with the flow, you will find things will move really quickly. Okay. I do feel this energy of the universe is going to change very soon. So things will start picking up if they're not already. Okay. We do have a little bit of an overlap in energy at times. The universe goes through so many retrogrades and this and that, and planets moving in and out that is causing these energy changes. Okay. This year has been pretty big for that. We've had a lot of solar flares. We've had the retrogrades. There's all sorts going on. When you look at May and what the energy of May did, the universal energy, what happened in May hadn't happened for 30 years. Okay, with the amount of planets that were coming in and out of retrograde and coming close to each other and whatnot. So you can understand why a lot of that energy was built up. And it was causing a lot of frustration, a lot of heartache and stuff like that, throwing us over the edge, so to speak. We may find at times with the universal energy that we are really in heightened as well, okay? Jessica's just saying she's so scared to start school again after a year off. Honey, I just feel that you need to breathe and ground your energy. Okay, so what I mean by that is put 2 feet firmly on the ground, take some nice, slow, deep breaths, and see yourself center your energy. Okay, the thing is that what a lot of us are doing lately, and I admit I do it at times, but I am more aware of when I'm doing it. All right, so we're getting too much in our own head. Okay. So then we start, I had a client only, I think it was yesterday. I kept saying to her, get out of your own head. She's talking. I'm like, get out of your own head. I can point out that these people are doing this stuff, but they've got to realize it themselves. How many of you will have something come into your head and then you got to analyze it? You got to break it down. Why not acknowledge those thoughts and let it go? Because when you let it go, you're moving that energy. When you're analyzing it, you're manifesting that energy. It gets bigger and bigger. All right. So, if you can change your thought process, if you can slow your mind down, you can clear that clutter that's in your head every now and then, you're going to start feeling better. Okay. Meditation is a good way to do that. Now, I know some people don't like to meditate. Some people find it really hard. It's like anything. You've got to practice. The more you do it, the more it gets easier with that side of it. But you will find that you will start clearing your mind. You'll stop those old patterns of that hectic noise or that busy mind in your head. All right. They are the things that can add, by what I understand, to anxiety and depression. When we've got anxiety, the first thing you do is you start overthinking. It's the same as depression. Everything is in heightened. So all your senses are in heightened, whether it's your breathing, it's your thought processes, your feeling, the body shutting down. You're very welcome, Jessica. It's my pleasure, honey. Hey, Vanessa. Hope you're well. Hi, Tara, as well. So I love the little heart there, honey. I will go back, guys, and I will read your messages as well. a little bit later on, and I will put a heart or a like or sometimes a comment there to let you know that I have seen your messages with that side of it. Okay. Jessica, sorry, honey, I'm getting tongue tied tonight. I've been talking for like a week straight. So my mouth is going, oh, I need a night off or I need a day off. I was the youngest to have a gastric sleeve the start of this year and haven't started year 10. Honey, it will come. Try not to put too much pressure on yourself. Okay. I know my niece, I actually seen today for the first time in a very long time. She goes to high school and I think she's missed most of this year, but for one reason or another that, I'm not going into that. It's not my information to share, but is going back to school this next term. Okay. And I could see the look on her face. She was a little bit worried about it, but it's taking the bull by the horns. It's making that first step. And once you get in that energy, you'll find that it'll be okay. A lot of the time when we worry about things, it's like we overthink it, we heighten that energy, and that, it becomes worse. I always like to look at when I'm nervous about something, it's keeping me grounded. And it's usually those things I'm nervous about that I don't need to be nervous for. All right. And Tammy's just saying, I felt so much better lately now. I have very two close friends going through a rough spot. I wish I could help them more. Honey, maybe you can through your own experiences. I believe we go through the anxiety, we go through the depression, the mental health, or, the testing times or whatever it may be that you're experiencing for a reason. It's about making us stronger. Okay. This is how we learn through our experiences. We can tell kids things over and over, but they don't normally learn until they have experienced it for themselves with that. Nita, I love the lovely little face. Thanks, honey, with that. And Sue has just hit the connect button to join in and get notifications when we go live. Thank you, honey, and welcome in joining in. So, guys, please feel free to hit the share button and invite your friends and family to join in. If you've got groups that you're in that you feel these messages might help or help other people understand, please feel free to share them. I do not have an issue with my videos being shared into groups and stuff. Somebody, I think last night on the replay that I put up in the previews or whatever it's called that Facebook has just added, asked if you could share it to a anxiety group, and I'm totally fine with that. There's no problems. Roy says my sleeping schedule has been off, and that's one thing I find, Roy, with my daughter. Her sleeping schedule is not very good, and actually a young man I spoke to the other day with depression, his was the same. His mum commented that his sleeping habits aren't very good. So I think with what I have seen in the past, the anxiety and the depression, the sleeping habits are very much out of whack with that. It's like our clocks are wrong. Now, I know for my daughter at one stage, they gave melatonin as like a tablet for her to take to try and help get that pattern back in. Elizabeth just says, May was the worst month I've ever had. I was hospitalized twice and I think it was anxiety, etc., etc. So the doctor put me on tablets and I have been the best ever. Excellent, honey. I'm pleased that you are feeling so much better. See, sometimes we can be picking up on that universal energy and we take it on ourselves, especially if you're intuitive. Things are heightened. We're feeling the universal energy. We're feeling the stress of every day. Different things can add up, or a lot of things can add to it, so to speak, with that. Robin says, I'm trying to use crystals to help me. Excellent, honey. I would suggest making sure that you cleanse your crystals regularly. Crystals are a good one. You can use your selenite, you can use your black tourmaline, your amethyst, your rose quartz. Rose quartz is very much about the heart, the self-love, that sort of side of it. So there's different elements to different crystals that you could use. I want to say, look what you're drawn to and go by that side of it. But selenite is a really good thing. Actually, no, it's too hard to grab. I've got a selenite tower. Actually, you could probably see above my pen lid's going to come off. Above my head, whoops, just here at the tip of the pen in the background there's 3 whitey color towers. That is selenite. Okay, those ones behind me are actually lamps that you can put a globe in it and you can light it up. That helps to soak the negativity up with that, and they make a beautiful night light, and they're very anything that has the electrodes and stuff from TVs and all fridges and stuff around us, our technology is soaked up by that as well, and they are very calming, very peaceful. So Himalayan salt lamps as well with that. So Alicia is just saying hi honey. Jessica is just saying, would the best crystals to carry with me to school? I would suggest, honey, amethyst, your rose quartz, your black tourmaline, and if you get anxiety, fluorite. Because I don't think I do have a little bit here on my desk. I don't know how well you can see that in the green in the bag. It's not very good, but this is fluorite. It is a crystal that has the greens and the purples and different colors in it. That is very good for anxiety side of it, so that soaks up in that. So I would recommend fluorites firstly, your selenite, if you can get it in a tumble or in a piece of jewelry or something like that. But your amethyst and your rose quartz. Rose quartz is about the heart, the self-love, love for others. Yeah, amethyst is an all-round sort of stone with that side of it. So there are some, but I quite often say to people, go into a crystal shop. I do have some online on my shop as well. Elizabeth says she carries rose quartz. Beautiful, honey. And look at what you're drawn to, because crystals pick us. All right, Robin, white halite would be a good one as well. I do have some of that here somewhere. I don't think it's quite made the crystal cabinet as yet. But yeah, that is another good one as well. So let the crystals pick you. You might find you will sit with one crystal or a couple of crystals for 2 or 3 months, and then you might decide you need something else. Those crystals pick us to what we are needing. And that sorry, I just lost my train of thoughts for it sort of stepping in, reminding of me of things I need to talk about or wanted to talk about. You might need to change your crystals because that crystal has served its purpose with you and you don't need that anymore. So you might need to pick out something else. But it is important to cleanse your crystals regularly. Now, just guys, and a lot of people don't realize this, if your crystal has the word "ite" in the end of it, ITE, you cannot put them under water. Okay, you can cleanse your crystals under warm water or in salt or under the moon or whatnot, and the full moon. But if it's got ite in it, they do not like water. They break down and they release toxins. So, Robin, I wouldn't put your white halite underwater, okay? Because they will break down. They don't like them. They release the toxins, as I said, with that. Okay, so a lot of people don't realize that side of okay. There's some pretty long messages here. Like I said, guys, I will go back and read your messages as well. And please feel free to hit the share button and share with others that you might think this may help. Now, everything's got energy, okay? And this is where I want to look at anxiety and depression from my point of view in what I do, okay? As a psychic, as a medium, we work with energy a lot with our intuition and whatnot. We all have energy. Now, what you can do to feel your own energy, if you haven't done it before, I always say shake your hands, put your hands apart, and bring them in. I can't go much further than that until you get to a place that you can't move your hands anymore. You feel like you're bouncing off of things, like off of a sponge. Okay. When I do that, I get the heat, the tingles to my hands when I hit my boundaries, my energy sort of thing. Mine starts in wider, out further, but I'm just trying to bring it in further. When you get that, that is your energy. Okay. So you think about it. We all have energy. Our furniture has energy. The trees, Mother Nature has energy. Everything physically has energy. Okay. We push our energy onto others. Those that are intuitive and open will take it on. My feeling is that a lot of you that have anxiety and depression are taking on things that doesn't feel like you. All right. The first thing I will ask people is, and I work with kids at times with anxiety and depression, seems to be other people's children rather than my own, because mine doesn't think mum knows anything, and I'm not obviously the person to help her in that sense. The first thing I will quite often just say to somebody is it yours? Are those thoughts, are those feelings yours? And a lot of the time, the answers I get back is no. Or they might say, I know this isn't me. Okay. They are picking up the energy of those around them. There's a very fine line between energy of as to energy of a person next to us or the energy of spirit. Okay. As a reader, as a medium, I am reading the energy of spirit that steps into my aura. Okay. So it's kind of like there becomes a close bond, not too close, because if they do step too close, I cannot understand what they're saying. They need to give me a little bit of gap. All right. So we take on other people's energy. And if you're around somebody that is quite often very negative, you will find they will leave you feeling very exhausted, very flat within minutes. All right. And that's where we need to protect our energy. So I always say to my students when I'm teaching mediumship and psychic, put yourself in a bubble or something that you resonate with. It's got to be full. Whether your walls are close to you or they're a half a meter out, depending on how much space you need or you feel you need, that is your protection. That is your safe place. So other people's energies as they push onto you, will hit that and bounce back at them. Okay. I love kids when you see little innocent kids running around in Superman outfits or Batman outfits and stuff like that. That's kind of like their suit of armor. You can see yourself in a suit of armor, a protection sort of thing with that. Okay. So if you're protecting your energy and you're doing it regularly, you should find that you're not taking on the negative energy of those around you. Okay. Sorry, guys. I keep glancing down at comments, but they are moving a little bit quicker. And I certainly will go back and read some of them. Lauren's just saying, hi, Leanne, definitely around the negative energies and makes me feel so much worse. It does. Because what is happening is those people in a negative mindset are feeling flat and exhausted themselves for their own situation. Okay. When they are around somebody that is intuitive, sensitive, more open, they will pull on their energy more so. They might not always mean to. They could be doing it without realizing they're doing it. So they're draining your battery, so to speak. All right. So when you put your protection in place and it's complete, it's full, they can't get through it, you will find they will try to pull on your energy, hit your protection, and it will bounce back at them. They won't actually leave you feeling drained and exhausted. You can still be there to be helpful, do whatever you feel it is you need to do for that person, if that's what you're drawn to. But you're just not allowing them to pull on your energy to top theirs up, which could only last them 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds or whatever. Okay, but it leaves you feeling flat for ages. With the level I work on as a medium and as a psychic, I use a thick Perspex cylinder that comes from the universe down into Mother Earth. My walls are usually about an inch, around 25 centimeters thick, for those that don't know the imperial side of it. And when somebody comes towards me that is negative and I can see it in their energy field, my walls will go out to around 4 inches thick. So you think, 5, 6 centimeters, around that sort of thickness with that. So nothing can really get through that. Okay. So in your mind, you see that bubble or that cylinder or whatever it is that you connect with. So you're not taking that on. You can do that as many times a day as you want. In my mind, what I used to do was I used to think protection. I'd see somebody, because I worked in customer service for a while. You would see somebody coming towards you, "Hey, Sarah," that is quite negative or got that negative sort of vibe to them. I would, in my mind, go protection, and I would instantly know or trust that it was in place. And then as they walk away, I would see my walls going back to around that 25 centimeters, that inch thick with that side of it. So I didn't take it on. Okay. Needless to say, God, that is so true. That is so real for me. I'm actually a happy, positive person, but lately I feel I'm constantly attacked with negativity. I'm going to make me a safe bubble. Well done, honey. And like I said, you can do it as many times a day as you want to. All right. I would, in the morning, I used to start my morning off, or I still do. I start my morning off with a shower. I would see the water in the morning cleanse me, cleanse my aura, cleanse me physically. And then I would call on my angels to bring what I needed. And I always just ask what I need for today and to move forward, their protection, all that side of it. And then I would see myself in that bubble until and that's one thing. Other thing is, as your vibrations change, you may find that protection isn't working for you anymore, so you need to up it. I used to use a fluffy white light. One of the ladies I started learning this stuff with, or explaining it to me, acknowledged use the white light. The fluffy white light is transparent, it's thin, it's light. Energy can get through it really quickly. All right. So I would recommend using something a little bit bigger, more sort of firmer, more thicker. Start with a bubble or something that you resonate with, and then as you grow, as your vibrations change and your energy picks up, you may need to come up with things that are a little bit more firmer or stronger in that sense. And that's why at my level, I use the Perspex cylinder with that. Ashley says, sometimes I have different color auras around me. Beautiful. And some of us can see auras and the colors. I get the haze of the aura, but I get the color in my mind. I might see the line of the level of the aura around somebody or the furniture or whatnot. But it's like in my head, in my thoughts, the way I get my information from spirit is there's yellow there, or there could be a bit of red on that side, or a bit of green, or whatever, however it sits. It's occasionally I will see it with my eyes in the color side of it. All right, so well done, Ashley. And sometimes it's all about acknowledging this stuff. And that's the thing. Actually, I'm going to go back to that about spirit. If I forget, please remind me to go back to that. I just want to talk about protection for one more second, or a couple more seconds anyway. When we've got somebody negative around us, somebody that is pushing their energy on you, or, you just can't, they're getting to you. See in your mind a mirror being put between you and them. Okay. You put the reflective side facing away from you, facing them. So when they push their energy, their attitude, their ego, or whatever it is they're doing onto you, it hits that mirror, it reflects, and it bounces back at them. So it's like that kind of you're giving them a glimpse of what they are pushing onto yourself or pushing onto others. Okay. If people get on my nerves or give me the shits, in my mind, I see their energy as it comes towards me and I reflect it back at them. Whether I use the mirror, which I can do sometimes, I do sometimes, or I will push their energy back at them. I'll see myself reflecting it back. So in my mind, I'm putting my hand up and reflecting that energy back at them. Okay. And a couple of times I've caught people give that little shudder, like they've felt it come back at them, but not knowing what's hit them. And I just actually just saying, wow, I love the heart, honey. That got my attention. Bob's just saying, what a great idea. Yeah, it is. It works. Because sometimes people need to see what it is they're reflecting on to others before they take that step back and go, oh my God, I didn't realize I was doing that. Because we don't always realize what we're putting out there or the way it is perceived. Okay. So put that mirror there or see yourself pushing their energy back at them to give them that dose of their own medicine, so to speak, with that side of it. So that's just a couple of things you can do in protecting your energy. And there's no right or wrong in what you use to protect your energy as long as it resonates with you. Only you know what it is that's going to work for you. Okay, so just make it full. One of the guys in my class one day used a ball of fire, but he resonated with dragons. So that made sense when I sort of worked out why he was using the sorry, spirit's catching my eye. This is the corner of my eye. Oh, catching my attention, I should say. When I worked out why the fire, the dragon, it made sense to me why he does that. Okay. So now I was going back to spirit, to energy. Looking at the energy side of it, I want to say, when you've got feelings or thoughts or feeling down or whatever, look at how that's resonating with you. Firstly, look and ask, is it mine? If you get the answer, do a yes/no questions. If you get the answer no, you know it's not yours. Acknowledge it and let it go. If you get the answer back yes and it is yours, then you need to go deeper and look at why you're holding on to that information or that energy or that, those details, and try to let it go, find the peace in that situation. Okay. When we're intuitive, everything becomes more heightened. It feels so much more real, I should say, English helps, that we're taking it on. So it's important to realize what's yours and what's not. And when you can realize that it's not yours and you let it go, you will find that your anxiety and your depression may back off a bit. It may not be so intense with that side of it. Okay. Now, spirit. When we are intuitive with spirit and they are there, the message is there, and we block that stuff out, they will keep pushing and pushing to get our attention. Usually anxiety and depression are one of the last things that will come through. So I want to say, Elizabeth's comment just caught my eye. I think my mum's house has bad energy. No one wants to buy them. Okay. So Elizabeth, what I would do with that is get yourself some sage and sage the house. Open up all the windows. And the doors before doing it. Get right up into all the corners and make sure when you do it that you're putting out there that you are doing it for love, out of love. Okay. The other thing that you can do, and I did this 12 months ago when we sold our house, was thank the property for what it has brought, the memories, the energy that has been put into it, the love, the care, and give it permission to move forward and make beautiful new memories with a new family. Okay. Sometimes we got to detach our energy from the property to be able to sell it. As much as in your head you might want to sell it, or mum might want to, or whatever, or if she's not here, you're selling it on her behalf. It's kind of like we can hold on to things with not letting it go that will block that. It's the same with love. If we've been hurt in the past and we shut our heart down, we're blocking finding somebody new coming into our life. So it's opening that up. So give it gratitude, thank it for what it has served, the beautiful memories that it has brought, and give it permission to be able to make new memories with a beautiful new family in that sense, and see yourself pulling your energies away from the property. When you do that, I know when I did that, I think I did that on a Saturday afternoon, and by memory, we had a contract signed on our house on a Thursday. That had the following Thursday, that had sat on the market for a while. So that's just something that you can try. You're very welcome, honey. Elizabeth's just saying thank you. So you're very welcome with that, Now, take note for those that have anxiety and depression. Do you feel that you're intuitive? You can put a yes in the comment if you do. Maybe put the word anxiety or depression, whatever it is that you struggle with, and put yes there with that. And if you don't, put the word no, because I'd be interested to see how many people do feel they've got the intuition there that are suffering with anxiety and depression. So obviously my comments are a little bit lagging slightly with that as well, but I will look back at that as whether it's tonight. Yep. So Tina has both. Danielle, sorry, honey, I think I missed yours, said both and no. You don't feel you're intuitive. That's okay. Ashley says yes, lots. Bob and Booth says depression, no. Okay. All right. I'd be interested also in seeing how many men say they're not intuitive. I had that conversation with a client today. Men can be quite intuitive, but because men are more scientific than women, men like to break things down. They like to see the ins and the outs of things. So they will shut off to spirit a lot more in that sense. Sarah says, mother has bipolar. Okay, so that's the ups and the downs. Leanne says depressive anxiety sometimes. Yeah, honey, when it comes to intuition, you either got it or you haven't. Okay, it might be, and I'll explain the rest in a second with that side of it. Nita says depression, and yes. Elizabeth says both. Joe says anxiety. And Tammy says depression more. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for sharing, because I know some people don't like to share stuff like that. So being open is a really good way. With that, okay, Ashley just says hers is a never-ending cycle. Okay. So, like I was saying, men are more scientific. They like to see the ins and the outs of everything. Women are more, we go from A to B very quickly. So we don't stop and think. We just know what we got to do and we do it. We get the thoughts, we get the feelings. We're so used to doing so many things at once, I guess, especially as a mother, that we take that on board as well with that. Okay. So, there's nothing wrong with being a man or a female, but I do feel that sometimes it can be a little bit harder for men to open up with that. And it's funny because some men are more suffering with a depression than what women do in a sense. Okay. Now, this is an important thing I'd like you to sit with a little bit. I'm going to make a statement and then I'm going to explain it. Okay. A lot of people with anxiety and depression are intuitive. Okay. I think I did state that earlier. Well, I think I did. But in saying that, when we block those thoughts, those feelings out, we are closing down to spirit. Spirit will push and push and push until they find a way to get your attention. Over the time, they may have put the signs in front of you or whatever, but you chose not to see it. Then they will heighten the way they give you the information. If you miss it or you keep blocking it and putting the walls up, they will get through to you one way or another. So it's usually through the mental health, the anxiety, the depression. And I've spoken to counselors, spoken to psychologists in the past, and it's actually incredible. One of my clients that I have been mentoring through her mental health and her spiritual growth has also got a psychologist that is now starting to open up to this side of stuff. Okay. And by the memory, her clinic, she is a bulk biller. Her clinics do bulk bill around the Adelaide area, and it's called Sports Med. So if anybody is looking to reach out for help, sorry, I've got it written down here. Psych Med, Sports Med is more sports. Psych Med, they're through, I think there's 4 or 5 around Adelaide area. So, and I think they are also now looking at expanding with what I've heard out into more country areas as well. All right, so that I can highly recommend them for other people. All right, so Ricky would like me to explain that a little bit more. So basically what happens, Ricky, is when we close down and we're getting those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions, some people think they're going crazy. They may hear voices, or they might get a movie in their head or a feeling or a thought that's not theirs and they can't control that. Okay. That is spirit. Spirit will find a way to put the signs in front of us. They will yell, they will scream, they will do everything. And basically, when the anxiety and the depression comes in, that's what they're doing. They're yelling, they're screaming at you to get your attention. All right. We don't choose to be intuitive. We are given that for a reason. Now, everybody has it. It's whether we want to be open to it or we close it down. Okay. And as time's going on and generations are coming, like developing or growing, I should say, kids are becoming more intuitive. When I was a child, I didn't have anybody around me to help me understand my intuition. Okay. Mine comes through my father's side of the family. Now I'm an adult and I have chosen to, or been pushed by spirit to go down this pathway. My father is quite intuitive. And I guess over time, and the more I am out there and doing this stuff, and even now lately when they are coming away with me when I'm working a bit, occasionally they come away with me and my father is seeing this, he's becoming a little bit more open to his intuition. You know, he got a phone call from my oldest daughter last weekend and he just knew when that phone rang who it was from and something was wrong. Okay. So, beautiful. Ricky is just saying that makes sense. So, if you've got anxiety and got depression and you're closing down, you're finding you're withdrawing from talking to others, other things, my guess is, or my feeling is, and spirit shows me a lot of people are intuitive. I want to say probably 98% of the people I see with anxiety and depression are intuitive. Okay. Whether they need to be on medication or whatnot is not for me to say. That is up to to that person, yourselves, and it is up to the medical profession. So you can only seek their professional advice and make that decision for yourself. Ashley says, I come from a very strong family of women who are intuitive. Yep, perfect. And it is quite often handed down the track. You know, a lot of my medium friends, Selman just says, hey, hi, honey. A lot of my medium friends, my soul family, we have two families. I always say we have two families. It's like we have our blood family that comes with all the issues and all that side of it. We can be close to them or we can be quite distant from them, or and that's our blood family. Then we have our soul family, and they are usually the people that you just pick up like yesterday. You might not have seen them for 6 months, 12 months or whatever, but it just feels like yesterday with that. All right. Yeah, I was just saying a lot of my medium friends are quite often got generations before them, whether it's a mother, it's a father, auntie, uncle, or grandparent. It sometimes can go back to, I think, probably Mine goes back about 4 generations with what I've traced through my family tree, and it's funny because that woman in our family called Rose is now one of my guides that I've connected with, and she stays with me all the time, with family. Sorry, spirit keeps playing, pardon me, with the back of my hands. I've got a grandfather figure stepping in that's got intuition. He keeps giving it to me and he's trying to get my attention. So I'm trying not to read tonight because I want to talk and focus more on this, because I think it's important at the moment with the amount of people that are quite sensitive to what is going on at the moment and are struggling as well. Bob and Booth Baker just says that all makes sense now. My hubby and his mother were very intuitive. Okay, some place that is sort of starting to make sense to people as well. So what I'd like you to do is just take a second. For those that let me know they had anxiety or depression or both and said no as the question to intuition, I want you to stop and take a moment, rethink about what I've said, and then think about what it is that you've blocked out over time, and then re-answer me and say yes or no, as in, do you still feel that you do have yes for intuition, no for not? Okay. Hey, Tony. Oh, thank you, Tony. I love you too. Tony is one of my beautiful clients and friend as well. And that's the thing. I make connections with my clients and they become like family or friends as well with that. So Tina says, and Tony, you might like to share a little bit about yourself in the comments with, because I'm sure you don't mind me explaining you've been through your own roller coaster with mental health and for yourself and those around you, sort of thing. And Trina says, since Mum has gone, I hadn't needed her. I get really emotional and I think I will get like that because she was my go-to when I struggled with life. Okay, honey. Do you know what? Acknowledge it. Mum can still hear you. If you don't feel that you can oh, Tony says, and a student. Thanks, honey. I forgot that one. And she's given me the heart. You're gorgeous, Tony. If you don't feel that you can say those things out, whether it's through your thought process or saying it out loud to speak to spirit, they hear you. People that come to me and say to me quite often, can you tell Mum this, or can you tell Dad that, or I just need them to know this. You don't need me to speak for you. You can speak to spirit. Okay. I am the communicator that hears spirit to deliver you back the message for those that can't hear it or doesn't trust in the information that they may get. Okay. For me, I would go to somebody else to have a reading because I am too close. Hey, Kathy. I am too close to it to trust it. Okay. When I get information for myself, yeah, I might get the odd bit and piece. I'll go, okay, that's my grandparents around me, or, because I haven't lost touch with too many people. But I get in my own head. I start questioning the information I get. I'm going to do it now, get emotional about it. Quite often, if I have one of my grandparents, especially my grandmother, and I don't know why it's stronger, I guess I was up to when my grandmother died, I was closer with my grandmother than I was with my grandfather. Okay. After Nana died, then I got closer with my grandfather because he started becoming more involved with family for one reason or another, and that was his journey. Okay. And I understand that. But when I connect and I feel my grandmother around me, 99% of the time I become very emotional. So my head becomes clouded by that emotion, that grief, if you want to call it that, and I block the information or I start questioning the information that I get. So I don't connect with them. I can go and sit with another reader and get a message. I might get a bit teary-eyed, but it doesn't seem to have the same effect for me. I guess I feel their energy. I miss that energy. And that's probably what starts that emotion off in that sense. All right. But it's acknowledging the stuff you get. For me, it's easier to focus on people getting stuff for other people. Oh, that's what I was saying. And Trina says, I do talk to her through, I think I have too much in my head to take in the response, and I don't know what I'm looking for. And that is the thing, honey. Sometimes because a lot of us don't understand how spirit works or how we get the information, we don't, it can be a little bit confusing or a little bit overwhelming at the same time. And that's one thing I love when I teach. Like, I've got beginners workshops, I've got medium level online workshops going at the moment, and teaching, and I think there's probably 15, 16 students between the two groups. I love watching them develop. I love the expressions on their face, watching them on the computer as something resonates with them. It's quite common for people to go, oh my God, I've been doing that for years. But because they didn't understand what it was, they didn't get that. Danielle says she can relate to Trina, sorry, honey. And so can Ashley. All right. So it's trusting in the information. Guys, if you want to learn this stuff, I do run, and I'm not here to push my online courses or anything. That was the last thing on my mind. I do run online courses, not so much focusing on the face-to-face ones at the moment, but the online ones. Otherwise, I would highly recommend start meditating, clearing your mind, getting rid of that monkey mind, that busy energy, that clutter that sits in our heads, okay? Look at books out there, okay? Lauren, honey, I'm not doing guidance tonight. I'm talking about anxiety and depression, but certainly join in on Wednesday nights. Actually, I might have to change this Wednesday night. I will let you know through my Facebook what I decide with that, because I'm off to Queensland Wednesday night at the time I would normally be live. And so look at meditation, look at books, look at workshops, or whatever it is that you're drawn to help you learn, help you understand things better. Kath says, I'm currently seeing a lot of white feathers around. Okay, so honey, what is your first thought? Okay, who is the feathers relating to? All right, go with your first thought. All right, Trina says, I will definitely look into online courses. Thank you so much. Trina, if you are, have a look on my Facebook page. I don't think I've actually got them up on my website at the moment. With beginners, we are only on week 1. We have just had week 1, but I do record my lessons, and my students get the recording each week. So if they want to watch back, or if they can't make a lesson. So if you wanted to join in straight away, you certainly could join in on Thursday night coming for week 2, and I could give you the replay for week 1. So the best thing would be to inbox me if you're looking at doing it sort of fairly soon. Cass says, and it's always when I'm depressed. Okay. Your best friend that passed away. All right. So would I be right in saying that best friend would be who you would go to when you're depressed, somebody to talk to? Cass says, always when I'm going through my depression. All right. So my feeling, honey, is that your best friend is letting you know she is around you at that time. Because my feeling is she would have been somebody there that would have been there to support you through those things, somebody to talk to, a shoulder to lean on, whatever it was that worked for the two of you in that way. Okay. Trina says, awesome. Beautiful, honey. I've got to work out how to do those hearts. I love that side of it. So guys, look at what's going on. Sometimes we need to step back out of the energy and just take a deep breath and ground ourselves. So that is important as well, because that will help you see the bigger picture at times. Okay. Okay. So Cass' friend is always there. Beautiful. And that in this, and see, that's the thing, guys. And I said this to one of my clients today. We may not always see the physical form, or have the ability to see the physical form of a loved one that is passed over, but we can feel their energy. We just need to get out of our own heads and trust what we get. Just because you can't see the physical form doesn't mean they're not around you. Okay. So, I'm going to say, how many of you will be busy doing stuff and all of a sudden a memory of a loved one or a saying or something they would do would pop in your head without trying? Okay. That is their soul with you at that very time. Okay. It's the true or the pure thought that comes from spirit. I always say to people when that happens, or they're tickling your nose, playing in your hair like spirit was with me before, look at what's going on in your life at that time. Kathy says she gets that. So, honey, know that's them with you, whoever that memory is of. And um and look at what's going on in your life and look at what the message is in there as well. Sorry, somebody's just saying amethyst. Kath, I'm looking for a crystal or something that can help me fight the depression and anxiety. Amethyst is a very good round one. I think Ricky put that, honey. Yeah, all-rounder sort of thing. But I would highly recommend for anxiety and depression fluorite. Okay, it's a beautiful stone. I've only got some little chunks here that have I've pulled out that were broken from the supplier when they came. But yeah, it's a greeny, purpley, tingy sort of photo with that side of it. Okay. What's Tony saying? Hi, Leanne Psychic Medium. After the last week group on my daughter's birthday tonight. Oh, happy birthday to your daughter, honey. I had a moment and actually felt their father and my partner's beautiful, loving energy in my heart, and I got the gorgeous memory of her birth and her father's presence. He sent a single rose, and I had a silent tear of joy. Oh, beautiful, honey. I'm so pleased that you could feel that with that side of it. And see, Tony, over time, you have learnt to trust in what you're feeling. And that's an incredible thing. It's kind of like that monkey mind you let go of. You stop questioning things and you just trust what you feel. And it can be such an emotional, incredible thing to do in that sense. So well done, honey. I'm really proud of you for being able to do that, because as Tony will tell you, it's taken practice. It's taken understanding of how this side of it works to be able to make that connection in the way that she does. Lauren says, yes, I mean, with anxiety and depression, is there anything I can do to help my anxiety and calm me? I feel that I'm always angry and tend to yell and argue with the loved ones. Actually, it's out of my reach. Fluorite crystal, keeping that, honey, in your aura. Selenite will help as well. Okay, so Tony's just saying it's taken 5 years since his passing. Now, something else, and obviously I don't think this far ahead, and Spirit's just drawing me to it, and this is where I let myself down in my business, so to speak, but I'm not here about money or anything like that. We have essentials, have spritzers, sprays, right, that we make ourselves. So, well, I make myself, I should say. When I'm making them, I put my healing energy and my love into each spray, okay? One is called Reduce Anxiety. Let me just reach over and grab this bottle. That's funny. This one is actually Felicity, my receptionist bottle, and it's Letting Go. So we have about 5 in our range. Letting Go is a good one for those in their head holding on to things like that. So I will put it up. Sorry, there's a bit of a reflection. It helps if I go the right way with that. So this is my logo, and that's a Letting Go spray. We have the Reduce Anxiety. That one there is a 50 ml bottle that is about, off the top of my head, $15. The 125 ml bottle is $25. So what you do is you give it a good spray, take the lid off, you squirt it. I'm not going to squirt it because I've got my glasses on and it's got oils in it. You give 2 or 3 squirts around your head and you let the the mist fall down over your head, so you're breathing in essential oils, and it's all natural. Will help you with that side of it. So, reduce anxiety is another way. The little 50 ml is a beautiful size for your handbags. If you're interested in that, you can, I'm not sure if it's on my website as in the new label, but you can certainly order online or inbox us if you would like to try that, and we can post stuff out. So the little boxes are boxes. The little bottles, Kathy, are $15. The bigger bottle is 25. So that's 50 mils compared to 125 mils with that. Okay. We sell a lot of this stuff. The letting go, the reduce anxiety, the deeper sleep. So those that have trouble getting to sleep and staying asleep, that will help. Kitty calm for those that have got restless kids or kids that are bouncing off of walls. That works magic. I used to use that on my daughter for quite a while, but she's got a bit old now to do that side of it as well. So, there's things like that. There's tools through the breathing, practicing your deep breath, slowing it down with that, and that will help raise your vibrations. Oh, sorry, Tony. Thank you, honey. The sage cleansing is another one. So sometimes people like to sage their own aura or their workspace, and some people use it on their the houses that don't like the smoke smell with that. Natasha, no, honey, we're not doing readings tonight. We're talking about anxiety and depression, mental health, that side of it. Okay. And Kathy is saying why I'm talking at the moment, Leanne. I'm scratching at my hair. So, honey, what are you feeling? Who does it remind you of? Tony says it's great in crowds as well. So Tony is a big fan of our sprays. With that side of it, we go through heaps of it. We move a lot of that stuff. Like I said, I can post it out if people are interested in it. So, Kathy, look at when you're doing that. See, now I'm doing that as well. Trust what you feel, you think, you see, you hear, you know. Okay, they are basically the senses that spirit will use to communicate with us. All right. So look at, what you're picking up in that side. Okay, Ricky's doing it as well. Do you know what, guys? When I was younger, I was younger, my children were younger. I think my oldest daughter was at kindy, and my youngest was only a baby. I would quite often sit there and scratch my head before I understood how spirit worked or had that clearer way, because when I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, that's probably when things come more to the forefront, and I started really understanding spirit a lot more in that sense. Okay. And I used to have my husband every night when he'd get home from work go through my hair looking for knits, thinking that my daughter's brought home knits from school, even though I hadn't seen proof in her hair and stuff like that. And over time, I started realizing that was spirit trying to get my attention. They still do it. I could be sitting there watching TV at night, and I'll sit there and swipe at the top of my head. My husband will go, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yep, spirit's playing my hair. I'm telling him to bugger off. I'm closed for business," sort of thing. I'm not, this is my family time. So it's finding boundaries as well with that. So Tony's just saying she also has clinical depression as well. So I'm guessing Tony has put other stuff down there explaining a little bit about her. Tony, I did suggest to people if they're in the Adelaide area and looking for some professional help that Psych Med would be worth looking at as well with that. Okay. Dana, we've gone through, honey. I'm just reading your comment, hun, on ways to help that. Ground yourself, breathe, clear your mind, and take that back over. You could use the sage spray. You could use the letting go spray as well. Could be a good one with that side of okay, Kathy says she takes herself off her depression medication. All right. I can't say whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not trained in medical, and you you know in yourself what's right in that side of but yeah, you've got the experience. I want to say, people, it's important. I've got spirit playing on the side of my head now. It's important to trust in what you're feeling, what you know yourself in that sense. All right. And when it is bad, don't be afraid to ask for help, to communicate. Look at the professionals, look at what's out there, and look at what works for you. But I think from tonight or today's point of view, and me sharing the last year's video that I did, was more about making people aware of how spirit can affect us, how other people's energy can affect us, and how we take it on in ourselves. So there is the need to protect ourselves. There is the need to acknowledge spirit as well. So if you're somebody that picks up on all that stuff and you're closing it down, they're going to give you the kick up the arse no matter what you do. So it's important to acknowledge that stuff and let it go, because the more you close it down, the more it's going to manifest. And, we all have negative thoughts at times. Turn those negative thoughts into a positive thought. Acknowledge that there is a negative thought and just replace it. Okay. Trina says, I love this. I feel clearer, not so overwhelmed as I was before this session. Oh, beautiful, honey. If, I can only help one of you, I get satisfaction out of that. And I guess coming online and talking about this side of things and sharing, I guess, tools that I've learned, which I probably haven't gone too much into them. Beautiful. Amy's giving me the butterflies. And now, see, there's a sign from Spirit. Butterflies is my grandmother. Okay. So thank you for putting that there. And I actually have 4 in spirit. 2 grandmothers and 2 grandfathers. Okay. With that. So, Tammy just says, my daughter has someone touching her face at night. Okay. What I do, honey, is I set my intentions with spirit. They can stand at the door of my bedroom. They can't come in. All right. My space at night, I'm turned off, turned off to spirit, I should say. I set my intentions that if they do come in, I know I need to take notice, because what happens is with me, if I don't set my intentions with them, they will wake me up all night, every night. And it's funny because I did a show in Victoria last weekend, and I forgot to remind Felicity, because we were sharing a motel room, that after a show, I do some pretty weird things. Spirit comes through. I've shared a bed with my daughter while traveling once before after a live spirit. She said, Mum, never again. She sensed the spirits lined up, and she said at one stage she reckoned there was a good 11 or 12 there with that. But apparently on Friday night, I tossed and turned in the bed next to Felicity and kept her awake. I yelled out. I spoke about some fire. I spoke about somebody hurting me. And I woke up in the morning not remembering a thing. I had a good night's sleep. So, unfortunately, she didn't with that side of it. Kathy just says, my daughter, who is almost 2, has been taken my teddy bear my pa gave me when I was younger and talking to the bear a lot. Oh, that's beautiful, honey. Amy says, you're amazing. Oh, thank you, hun. Ashley says, such a great live tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you, Leanne. You are very welcome, guys. This is my pleasure to do this. All right. Just one thing, because I'm a bit worried that Be Live might cut me off in a minute, because we have gone well over an hour. But those that have got young children, from the time of birth through to about the age of 10 or 12, kids are so intuitive. They are so open. Even as a baby, you might find that child will sit there and stare off or gaze off into space, and you can't break their attention for a little bit. They are picking up on spirit. Now, I quite often say to young parents with younger children, you look, when the children start talking or babbling away, they will start talking to themselves or playing on the ground or whatever else. They are connecting with spirit. Spirit will step in around their loved ones. They don't go far from their family. but they will communicate with them. I quite often get people say to me, "Oh, my daughter keeps getting drawn to this picture that I've got at home," and we'll go, "Papa," or something like that, and it's my dad that passed over before she was even born. It's the kids are acknowledging and recognizing that energy, that spirit, from what they are seeing because they're so open to what the picture is with that side of it. So I always say with kids, and I could do a whole session on intuitive children and giving parents ways to help their children as well. So that can be another discussion another night. But kids, I want to say when they start talking and telling stories and stuff like that, play along with it, ask questions, because they more than likely will remind you or give you a message from a loved one with that. Okay. So, guys, I think we might need to leave it there tonight. I could keep talking and talking. You're welcome, Bob and Booth. With that, Alex always tells me, Damo. Okay. All right. So that's more than likely who she's picking up on with that side of it. And sometimes when we get those touches, it's about acknowledging. It's definitely about acknowledging those people, and a lot of the time when they're acknowledged, the energy will move or that message will move. So for those that block out spirit and close down to it, you're better off to acknowledge what it is you get and let it go, because that way they will move on. If they don't, they will keep pushing. All right. Tony just says, definitely will be rewatching this live show. Thank you, Leanne. You're very welcome, honey. It's my pleasure. All right, guys. Okay. Damo passed away in 2015. Okay, so it's when she hears the motorbike. So obviously the motorbike resonates with him as well. Just quickly read it, Ashley's. I remember I was playing with a doll when I was younger and turned my head and seen a man standing there, and all I did was smile and felt very safe. That's beautiful. I have seen him a few times over the past years here and there. That's beautiful, honey. That spirit. How many of you get the flashes out of the corner of the eye? I've had it a couple of times tonight as well, with them getting your attention. That spirit. Okay. Those very first thoughts is that true connection with spirit. It's about trusting them. All right. Kathy says, love your help and answers, Leanne. Oh, thank you. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Helps if I can talk English. Ricky just says, love listening and talking. Thanks, honey. Good night, Kathy. You too, Ricky. All right, guys. I will leave it there because I could go on for hours and hours, but I am getting tired and it's been a long night. I certainly will be on again next week, or this week coming for my Wednesday live. I might need to actually change it for those that want to watch it, as I'm getting on a plane, I think about 7 p.m. and I don't land in Queensland until after 9. So I will miss our normal one with that. So what I might actually do Tuesday night is a online course. Maybe I can do it earlier Wednesday through the day, and then people might just have to watch the recording. But the week after, I'll be back to Wednesday as normal with that side of it. Guys, if you do want to learn more about how this side works, I do offer, if you're drawn to me, I do offer the beginner's workshop that has already started. But if you wanted to join in this week, I would give you a replay for last week's class that you can catch up on. If you can't make every week, it's always recorded and the links are sent out. All right. If you're a bit more advanced, we have others. Otherwise, I will be running more next year with that side of it because I get very good feedback and people keen on that side of it. If you're after some sprays, please inbox me or I'll read your comment in a second, Kathy. That caught my eye. If you're after some of the sprays, letting go, sleep, sage, deep sleep, anxiety, you can certainly inbox me if you can't find it on the website, because I know I had some old labels with purely intuition the ingredients are still the same, but we've just changed the labeling. So I have reduced some of those to sell off in that sense. But yeah, inbox me if you're interested. Now, Kathy, yes, honey, I am doing readings on Thursday afternoon and Monday morning at Cara, I can't say it. My cousin rattled it off today, and I'm like, I get it. See, Carrara, Carrara, I think it is. It's pretty much there around Surfers Paradise. I will be at the McEwen Resort at let me see. Palm Meadows Drive. There's a resort there, so I am taking bookings for readings as well. Bob and Booth, I will be back in Horsham. I'm not sure when. I did talk to somebody or did get invited to do an expo in Horsham in March, so I will come back that way. Guys, if I can get enough people to come together and do no, it's not at the markets, honey. It's I'm staying at the resort. I'm actually over there doing a workshop, so I'm doing some learning myself. Spirit has told me for 2-3 years to write a book, and I started, and now all of a sudden this course has been put in front of me to do with writing a book and being published. So I'm going up to spend 3 days doing that and a day each side of readings, if I have if people book in that side. So I would love to get down to the markets. I think it's Thursday, Friday or Saturday or something like that. So if I get time, I will go and check that out. Trina, I'm planning on getting to Perth next year. I'm not sure exactly where. And that's the thing, guys. Let me know where you'd like me to come to. And if I can get enough interest to make it worth covering my costs to get over there, I'll come. All right. And I am already booking places for next year now, as well as this year's calendar has been full for probably the last 2 months, right through to Christmas. Kathy, I'll inbox you. Oh, beautiful, honey. Inbox me and I'll check that in a moment when I get off of here as well with that. But yeah, it is Palm Meadows Drive, Carrara. And I know there are markets there. Sydney, Alicia, yeah, I've actually been invited just recently to attend the Mind, Body and Soul Expos, the MBSs. I know they're in Brisbane in March, and then he does 2 a year in Sydney and 2 a year in June. 2 a year in Sydney, once in Brisbane, and 2 a year in Melbourne. So I am seriously considering doing those next year. But like I said, if I can find events or go there and do shows and get enough response to cover my costs, I will do it. For those that are watching, if you're in Mount Dania, I was just going to say that Mount Gambier, I'm there, I think it's around the 22nd, 23rd of November doing the expo. So I'm in Bordertown on the Thursday. I'm reading Thursday, Friday in Bordertown, heading to Mount Gambier Friday afternoon, reading at the expo there in Mount Gambier this year in November on Saturday, Sunday. I am in Whyalla on the 25th of October doing a live show. 26th, I think that's a Thursday night. Friday night, I'm doing a live show in Port Lincoln. Saturday, I'm reading in Port Lincoln all day. And then Sunday, I am doing a live show in Port Pirie that has $5 from each ticket sold going to the McGrath Breast Cancer Fund. All right, raising money for that. Okay. Okay, Alicia's just saying Sydney Festival is amazing. Beautiful, honey. All right, guys, I really do need to leave it that way. With that, if you're wanting to make a booking with me, certainly check out my website. I didn't even put any of that up tonight. So this is how much focused I was on my subject. It's just, I'll quickly just show you my website address. Goodness, come on. Go push the button properly. Leanne Winston Psychic Medium.com. or you can inbox me with that, and that does have the link to my calendar there. All right, Amy is in Adelaide. Okay, yeah, I must plan something in Adelaide for after Christmas. I am planning a expo that I'm running myself and my team up in Murray Bridge in February. So we're going to have about 60 odd stalls, family fun day type of thing as well. Have you ever come to the Psychic Expo in Kalgoorlie? No, honey, I haven't. No, Leanne. All right. So I can certainly look at that trainer as well. So I'll get flick onto that on Monday. All right, guys, I must go. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for sharing in your experiences, what you are going through as well. And hopefully together we can support each other. And if you can take one thing at least from tonight, that Kalgoorlie is Western Australia. Thinking I'm saying it wrong. Thanks, Tony. Take one thing out of the information I have spoken about tonight. I'm pleased I could help. It's my pleasure. All right. Well, I send love and healing to all those that are willing to accept it. And please just remember to ground your energy and breathe. Step back out of the energy at the times and just clear your head. Take that deep breath. Trina, you're very welcome, honey. All right. Sweet dreams. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.